And a very good afternoon to Telstra Stadium here in Sydney for this round one match of the Wizard Cup between the Sydney Swans and Carlton. Two teams that enter this pre-season competition in stark contrast. Sydney going with youth, and Carlton, well, they've had so many changes over the pre-season with Dennis Pagan coming up with a whole new look side. A lot of Carlton fans right around the country very interested to see just exactly how this new look team performs. And joining me in commentary for the first time here on Fox Footy, it's a very warm welcome to former West Coast Eagle and Richmond Tiger, Peter Wilson. Good afternoon, Peter.
Thanks, Matty. Looking forward to it. Very, very interesting day ahead of us. A lot of the Sydney stars are starting on the bench and all the rookie boys starting on the ground.
Yes, and from Carlton's point of view, it's uncertain about how they're going to line up and how they're going to gel together this afternoon.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? Half of the Hawthorn Football Club were actually running around for Carlton, so it's going to be very confusing. It's almost like it's a combined side going up against the young Sydney boys today.
Yes, it's a bit of an interesting game. We're not sure how it's going to pan out, in particular with some of these young Sydney players, where they're going to play. A lot of the fans here today haven't seen them at all. Yeah,
and Nicky Porter's coming out for his first game. 18-year-old boy coming out. He's a local prospect as well. And a great story, isn't it? He was out there for Tony Lockett's 1300th goal on the football field, ran out with the remainder of the crowd, and it was just, it's a great story, and it should be great to watch him run out here.
He's making his debut today, a man that was also Tony Lockett's teammate, bit of a cult hero here at the Sydney Swans, Troy Luff. He's going to join us on the boundary for the first time as well. He's down in the goal square to explain one of the new rules of the Wizard Cup.
One of the new rules in this year's Wizard Cup is if the ball comes in and hits the post, the ball is actually going to stay in play. So it gives an opportunity for a forward to come along and kick a cheap goal. Now, we've seen it a few times so far this year in the Wizard Cup. Let's see if we see it again today.
Yeah, it's just one of the rules that, I guess from his point of view, are to keep the crowd excited, along with the 9-point rules. We'll go through them here. The goal square markers are rewarded with a shot at goal from directly in front of goal. I think that's a good one, Peter.
Yep.
The boundary throw-ins are coming in 10 metres to increase the scoring. The messages per quarters come under a bit of controversy.
Well, isn't that a turning point? You're talking about Kevin Sheedy now. He normally would give, I would say, close to about 200 messages in a quarter, and now he's down to 5, and no one to talk to. So Kevin's been very upset during the course of the week.
And, of course, the video umpire was used yesterday at Canberra, although the players are a little bit confused about where to look. Here at Telstra Stadium, there's a couple of big scoreboards they can look at, so that's quite easy for them to do. And it is round one of the Wizard Cup. There's been some good results so far. We check to look at, see which teams are going where in round two. And from the point of view of Sydney and Carlton, I guess Carlton in particular will be a team that really want to win.
Oh, look, I think there's so many boys out here fighting for their careers. They have to start from round one, don't they? They're really, as far as the Wizard Cup's concerned, this is their day, and the coach is no doubt going to have a very hard time, and I think he's under pressure as well. They need to perform, the Carlton Football Club, there's no doubt about it.
Let's take a look at the Sydney team that'll be playing today here at Telstra Stadium, and a lot of new names there that we'll see. Josh Willoughby's a young player as well, but a couple of experienced players. You mentioned that Hall and Maxfield and players like that are starting on the bench.
Yeah, we've got Fosdykes, then we've also got Maxfield, the captain, starting on the bench, Hall, and also Goods. Now, you know, their superstars are starting on the bench, and all the rookies are on the ground.
And the Brownlow medalist, of course, Adam Goods. Heath James is also a young player we'll be looking forward to seeing. And right down the bottom, Nick Potter, we've already talked about. Rogers is a player that's come across from Melbourne, and Michael John is a young, tall player. So a real good opportunity for Paul Roos to get a look at some of his rookies, but also some of the young players that have been on his list now for a year. And well, they're such I guess the side that can play every game. They had 12 players that played every game last year, so it was a hard side to break into.
Look, I think the Medicos have done a great job last year keeping their players on the ground. It'll be a key to Sydney's success again this year will be how fit they can be, because they really don't go that deep.
At the annual practice match between Sydney and Essendon at North Sydney Oval last week, it's become a real traditional game, and we saw a lot of those young players, Peter. And I guess from the point of view of trying to make an impression on Paul Roos, the best way to do it is to get in and at it and lay some good hard tackles.
Well, the really thing that Paul Roos did emphasise on his players was going in very, very hard, and they did this in their scratch match, and they weren't taking it like it was a scratch match. They were fighting for positions for today's game, and I think they've done that. Hence we see so many rookies getting a game.
That's become a really important part of their build-up. Carlton have arrived here. They're now out on the ground. A lot of new players to look forward to. Also some familiar faces there with Scott Camporelli and Lance Whitner, who's making a comeback from a serious knee injury. He didn't play in their intra-club practice match last week. He was very close. It's a new look, Carlton side. There's also been plenty of experience going out the door as far as some of their champions in McKay and Ratton. So Carlton fans have got to get used to a few names.
Yeah, but look at the arrivals. I mean, young Clark coming from Geelong, an absolute speedster, and you'll probably see him on a wing. Very exciting. Harford, 27 years of age from Hawthorn, but a very experienced player. Has finished in the top 3 for Hawthorn on a couple of occasions, so very, very interesting. Ricky Mott not taking his place. Well, he's in the Carlton line, of course. But they've got to be the highlight for Carlton is Nick Stevens.
Absolutely. He's been in sparkling form already pre-season. He's a proven player, and from his point of view, he really does know what he's doing. He's going to be their key midfielder. Look at some of those names there. Ratton, Martin, retired. McKernahan gone to the Kangaroos, and some other players there.
And Murphy. And Murphy was a pretty good player for them last year. I was surprised to see him. But Beaumont really was one of their strengths. You know, that does make it hard. Guys like Glenn Matten pulling the pin, and of course Freeborn. So they really have lots of numbers.
Dennis Pagan has been using quite a few intra-club trials to try and get his structure right, given that there's 15 new faces at the club. Most importantly, talking to Dennis over the last couple of weeks, it's been trying to get the midfield right. We just saw Johnson there. He's going to be involved in that rotation with Stevens. And Clark on the wing, as you mentioned.
And young Johnson, very handy kid. He actually came from West Australia Swan Districts Football Club, 4 years at Hawthorn, and really has shown a bit. I think he'll fit in very, very well to their structure here.
Daniel Harford probably wishes we didn't show that piece of videotape of him getting a knock on the scone, but he kicked 3 goals roving the packs in the forward line in this game. And Heath Scotland, we know, loves to use the foot. He doesn't like to waste it.
Watch out for Stephen Kenner as well. Now the shortest man in senior football, and he'll be out there during the course, starting on the bench. But he will be an exciting little prospect to watch.
He's had a couple of goes, hasn't he, at the Brisbane Lions and also Hawthorn to try and get off the rookie list. And Dennis Pagan's very keen on Steve Kenner about how he's going to go this season. As the Sydney Swans enter the Telstra Stadium. What a great season they had last year. They were on this ground at the preliminary final. I think at three-quarter time we all thought they were headed towards a grand final. It wasn't to be, but it's given them a great grounding for this year.
Yeah, look, they really are just looking to take the next step. Injuries, of course, as I said, is going to hurt them. I mean, at the moment, you know, look at guys they're missing. You know, Jason Ball not there, Leo Barry, Nick Davies, certain guys at the moment aren't there, but when these players come back, I think you'll find they'll be okay.
Let's see what Paul Roos will be up to this afternoon with those young players. He's down on the boundary with his former teammate, Troy Love.
OK, Paul, now there's been a lot of talk this week about how many young fellas are actually blooding out here today.
Yeah, look, for us, there's a few guys that are still early in their program and haven't played any footy. Yeah, Stewie Maxfield, Barry Hall. So we'll just probably nurse them through a little bit today, but it's a good chance for the young guys and looking forward to seeing them play their second game in a row.
Now, you also mentioned this week that winning wasn't your priority today.
Well, obviously everyone likes to win because once you get into a competitive situation, but certainly we're mindful of the weather, mindful of the guys that haven't had a run yet under their belt. So our main priority is just to make sure our players get through the game unscathed, but certainly when the balls bounce, we want to win the game.
Now, we also talked a little bit about Nick Potter making his debut out. It must be an exciting day for him, local Sydney boy.
Yeah, look, I think it's terrific. He's on our rookie list, grew up in Sydney, and I noticed today he ran out when Plugger kicked his 1,300 goal. So, look, it's a great story, and I'm sure he'll do well today.
Paul, thanks very much, and good luck today.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Here's number 47, Nick Potter, just doing some stretching there in the back of the screen. We'll be looking forward to him. But let's get back to Carlton. We've touched on some of their new players, and they've sprinkled right through this team. But also Matty Lappin back in the side as well, so some familiar names.
Yeah, and some experience coming back into it. Another new name, of course, Dick Murrell coming over from the Kangaroos, from the grumpiest coach in Australia, of course, and under Dean Laidley. Lovely bloke, ex-teammate. But also some other good guys. Heath Scotland's also a good pickup for them, so they have got some good experience. Of course, we spoke about Nick Stevens, and isn't it one of the fabulous boys to watch getting around the ground? Favola, well, that is a spectacle in itself.
Brendan Favola, he is the answer, isn't he? Dennis Pagan has enjoyed coaching him, has brought the best out of him, kicked 63 goals last year. Let's hear from Dennis. He also caught up with Troy Love a little bit earlier on.
So, Dennis, with a huge influx of players from other clubs this year, who's impressed so far pre-season?
Look, there's been a lot of guys that have really stood out. I think Nick Stevens has been outstanding. Glenn Bay has trained really well. Daniel Harford has been a real plus. Heath Scotland. There haven't been, I think there's 11 new guys today. Of all those blokes who hadn't been at the club before, they've all been terrific with their preparation. They really have.
Now, Lance Whitnell, predominantly been a forward. Now, he was tried a little bit last year as centre-half back. We're actually going to see him play this year.
Wherever it suits the Blues. Some weeks you'll play centre-half forward, some weeks you'll play centre-half back, and that's it in a nutshell.
All right, Dennis, thanks for that, and good luck today.
Well, there is Lance Whitnell as usual. Dennis Pagan not giving much away, and why should he? But he is such an important player in this Carlton lineup. Good to see him back playing at a mishap after round 15 last season. Kevin Bartlett, your old coach Peter, will join us after the break. The senior set, the Swans and the Blues from Telstra Stadium.
I'm Lisa Lloyd.
And I'm Leah Hudson. Welcome to Fox Footy Channel, now an exciting new part of your Foxtel Essentials.
Right now you're enjoying our summer series, but we've got a brand new season of surprises just around the corner.
What is the best piece of advice you could give me?
There's always room for improvement.
That's all I'm going to say.
The forwards wear the Calvin Kleins and get paid the money.
So join us for a brand new year of Living with Footballers, returning Thursday nights, March 25th.
And remember, if you think being a footballer is hard,
You should try living with one.